There is a certain comfort in familiar faces. For millions of viewers, Craig Melvin is one of them. Steady, thoughtful, and reassuring. Each morning, he steps into America's living rooms with calm authority, guiding conversations through headlines both heavy and hopeful. He listens carefully, speaks deliberately, and carries himself with a quiet integrity that has earned deep trust over the years. But behind that composed presence lies a story rarely discussed, a story not of headlines, but of sacrifice. Public life has a way of shaping perception. From the outside, it can appear seamless: success, respect, purpose. Yet those who have lived long enough know that what is most visible is often only a fraction of the truth. For Craig Melvin, the demands of being constantly present for the public have required a kind of absence elsewhere, an absence that doesn't make the news, but is deeply felt. The days often begin before the sun rises. While much of the world is still asleep, Craig is already preparing, reviewing stories, gathering his focus, setting aside whatever personal weight he may be carrying. The discipline required to show up fully, day after day, leaves little room for rest. Over time, that discipline becomes a quiet burden, one carried not for applause, but out of responsibility. Those closest to him have seen what viewers cannot: the missed moments, the family milestones marked by quick phone calls instead of shared meals, the emotional energy spent comforting others on air, leaving little left when the cameras finally turn off. These are not complaints, but realities, ones accepted with grace, yet not without cost. For audiences in their 60s, this story strikes a familiar chord. Many remember years spent balancing work and family, duty and desire. Long hours justified by the promise of stability, sacrifices made with the belief that they were necessary, even noble. Craig Melvin's experience reflects that same generational understanding that providing, showing up, and doing one's job well often requires giving more than anyone ever sees. What makes Craig's sacrifice particularly poignant is his nature. By all accounts, he is deeply present when he is home, engaged, reflective, intentional. And yet, the tension remains. Public life doesn't end when the broadcast does. Expectations linger. Responsibility follows. Even moments meant for rest can be interrupted by the weight of knowing how many depend on your voice to make sense of the world. There have been times, quietly acknowledged, when the strain has shown, not in dramatic confessions, but in subtle shifts in the way he speaks about balance, about gratitude, about slowing down. These moments offer a glimpse into the inner negotiations so many professionals face later in life: how to continue serving without losing oneself in the process. Craig Melvin has never framed his sacrifices as heroic. In fact, he rarely frames them at all. That silence is part of what defines him. He belongs to a tradition that believes hard work should speak for itself, and that personal cost is simply part of the commitment. Yet in that silence, there is also a lesson, one worth pausing to consider. Because unspoken sacrifices have a way of accumulating. They shape relationships, they influence health, they quietly ask a question many avoid until later years: what has this work required of me, and was it worth it? For Craig, the answer is layered. There is pride, certainly, gratitude, purpose, but there is also a growing awareness that presence, true presence, is the rarest gift of all. In recent years, those closest to him have noticed a subtle shift, a deeper appreciation for stillness, a more intentional guarding of personal time, not a retreat from public life, but a rebalancing, the kind that comes with wisdom, not exhaustion, the kind that says success is not only measured by how well you perform, but how well you live. For viewers who have already walked long professional roads, this resonates deeply. It mirrors their own reflections, the moments when they wondered what might have been different and what still could be. Craig Melvin's story is not a warning, but an invitation to honor the work while also honoring the self behind it. In the end, his silent sacrifice is not about loss alone.
It is about dedication, resilience, and the quiet courage it takes to keep showing up. But it is also about recognizing when it's time to listen inward just as carefully as he listens to others. Because even the most trusted voices deserve rest, and even the strongest public figures carry private costs that deserve to be seen, not with judgment, but with understanding.